It says I'm live. Is it true? Let me know. What's the deal? I think I'm live. I could be live, but you in the chat are going to tell me if I am, and then we're going to have a conversation. I'm excited. It is. Hey, Tyler, what's going on? Give me 1 second. Making a little adjustment. What's up, Travis? Wait, there we go. I'm back. How's everybody doing? I'm live. Can you hear me? Is the audio okay? I want to make sure that the audio is fine because I had an XLR picture and video is good. What about the audio, Travis? Let me know. I'm making some adjustments. It's a little bit of a cluster over here. Give me a second. Okay. Picture and audio. Perfect. Good. Let me get back into focus here, which I should be now. And let's do the official. Hey, everybody. Jem Schofield here. Blah-diddy, blah-diddy, blah. And welcome to another episode of Gearbox 2.0. First live stream for this show in a while. And we are Wednesday, December 18th. 2019, and a lot of stuff has been going on. I appreciate you coming by. Let everybody know that the stream is going on. Maybe I should probably do a quick little push out to the world to let them know, and then I can tell you what I've been working on and all of that fun stuff. How's everybody else doing? Here we go. I'm live now. Boom. Okay. There we go. Just to bug people more during the holidays. So here we are. It is a pre-rainy Wednesday here in the Pacific Northwest. And what's up, Dan? I am in the studio space. There's a lot of changes that have happened this year. But in the last few weeks, I've gotten a lot of clarity in terms of what's going to be happening with my production space. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of look back. I'm hoping you will as well. I do want to remind everybody who comes to this channel that we will be having an episode of Camera and Flash today at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Caleb has a prior commitment, so it'll be Ben and I bantering back and forth, having a drink and talking about with you a very interactive chat about 2019 and going into 2020. Theme is not totally dissimilar for this episode, but it is a little bit different because I think I'm going to give you more of my own personal perspective of things. And I really want it to be a lively chat as well. That's really, kind of the deal in terms of what this episode's going to be about. So jump right in to the chat with what you've been working on, what you're looking forward to in 2020. It'll be a lot easier for me to get into that stuff with you in the chat now than when we do Camera and Flash, generally more people. And then if you have a specific question for me whenever we're doing this in terms of live streams, please put an @the_C47 like Tyler did at the top of the chat, and it will just boom. I'll just put my attention right on it, and I'll get to those questions. So the space I'm in right now is one of the key reasons that we bought the house that we did. It's a big ass barn. It's in terms of square footage, about 3,600 square feet. So there's a lot of space in here. What I've been trying to figure out, because when this house was built, they added this barn as an agricultural barn, is how I'm going to convert this to a studio. And there's some challenges when you do that, because at least in Oregon, when you build a barn, if it's an agricultural barn, they don't actually, the county, when they come to inspect it, they don't physically actually care about the structure itself. They just need to make sure that the structure's footprint is such and such number of meters or feet away from your property line, and making sure that that's all okay. Hey, Oliver. And it's weird because when you do things like put the electrical into that space, they still have to come and inspect the electrical. and you have to get permits for that. But the building structure itself is kind of a free-for-all. So when we bought this space, it was sort of promoted as this two-level barn that could be used for virtually anything. And what it really turned out to be was a two-level barn that shouldn't have a second level. And if they'd spent another $1,000 on wood and the beams and the support, I wouldn't have to do certain things that I have to do to this space. What are you going to do? So what I've been trying to decide is where the first studio space is going to be official, because what we're sitting in right now here is basically a 16 by 16 series of flats. There's a false ceiling here, which is just fabric, which just gives a little bit of bounce because I'm bald. And so otherwise, if I'm side lighting and side filling, we get this like little dark strip down the middle. So it's working out fine, but the space has really, it has power. It has no insulation. It has a concrete floor down here, which is actually a plus, one of my realizations recently. And that's it. So, you know, it's a run to the house to go to the bathroom. Eventually, I'd like a small bathroom in here. But what I have decided, okay, good. Things have happened. Lots of notices when it's the holidays. So the thing that has happened is I've realized that going onto the second level of this barn and building the space in there, which I've shown in previous episodes, is not the smartest choice for a couple of reasons. Number one is the actual roof of the building, which I was originally going to look at replacing. But when you replace a roof that is a 30 by 60 building, it costs a lot of money. This is a metal corrugated roof that's on the building. So you can imagine in a state like Oregon, where it rains just a tiny bit, that it can get really loud. The second thing is, even if you insulate that space and you have those sound issues, and ideally you would re-roof it with shingles, if you listen to the floor that's up there, it's pretty creaky because of that lack of support that they should have put under there. So what I've decided to do is actually look at taking two vertical support beams that are columns that are part of this space that I'm in right now, and replacing that with a big header, a big ass header. And that will basically give me open space where I am right now. So I can keep some things over there like C-stands and grip. What's up, Master Stroke Media? And then basically what I'm going to do is build the first studio space here. Concrete floor, insulate the whole thing, insulate the ceiling like a mother, because then the chances of me hearing what's coming from upstairs are greatly reduced, and all of that stuff. Travis says, been covering some network ENG, electronic news gathering gigs lately, and then some occasional TV and reality shows. I'd like to get back into more corporate jobs in 2020. Overall, I just grateful the phone keeps ringing. I hear you. Give me a second. I'm going to go out of focus. I'm making one little adjustment here, everybody. This is part of the problem of being in this space, is the lack of insulation. So, so this basically is going to become the first space, but it's still a big project, and it's going to require obviously money. It's going to require a little bit of time, but the first stage is actually not going to be too bad, because it's really just getting that header up. It's removing a couple of big garage doors and then framing out and insulating essentially almost a box. It'll be about close to 1,100 square feet. And if I can walk into even an unfinished 1,100 square foot space, I can do a lot of things. And the plan is to build flats that are on wheels. I can build different looking sets and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. And then the other thing is that I'm planning on doing another series starting in the beginning of the year in 2020. So this is an idea I've had for a long time. It's something, hey, Action Collectibles. It's something I've been planning to do as an ongoing series. I did a few tests in the past, and actually the studio is starting to get set up for that right now. I actually have a C100 right above me, right here. I've got one over there. I've got the C200 over there. And it's going to be an interesting series, I think. It's going to kind of be a little bit more fun, not serious, but what we do with the equipment will probably turn out to be serious because it always has to have practical application. And I'm targeting mid to end of January for the first episode of that. And then, you know, that's the stuff. All right. Tyler says, I did a bunch of freelance stuff this year for other production companies, hoping to build my own business more and grow my client list. Awesome. Yes. I've been a career freelancer since 1996. It's scary as all heck when you have a kid in college and you're trying to pay for education and, you know, all of the other fun stuff. But I personally wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm always open to having discussions here on the chat and on the live stream about questions that you have related to running your own business. I'm not going to give you legal advice, but what I will do is give you my opinion on what's worked for me, my successful actions, and then you have to take that, internalize it, and do something that's right for you. So, so I'm excited for 2020. 2019 was definitely a real roller coaster. In some ways, a little less than 2018 because I wasn't moving my family into a new house and everything else. A lot of changes in this industry. A lot of people that I know moving from one company to the other, a lot of, unfortunately, layoffs. A lot of, I'd say the biggest change for me is that, and sort of Canon's, at least current view on content creation. So myself and a lot of other people were part of creating a lot of content for Canon for the better part of, I'm going to say 8 or 9 years. And, you know, while I'd love to do a C200 series for Canon, and somebody just emailed me today about something as well for the XF705, and I'd love to do a series on that. I don't know if that's going to happen. So if it does, that's great. But it's, again, that idea that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You diversify as much as you can. And for me, a big part of this is going to be new content for the new year. I do find, and I'm not recommending that anybody is, you know, dumb enough to do what I do, but I do find for me and my brand and what I do, which is focusing on creating educational content, that that continuing to produce my own content on a regular basis for my channel is actually good for the brand. I'm visible. People can see what I'm doing, and those things are ¿Qué pasa? What's up, Shiznuts? Happy to have you. Hope you'll be on the live stream later on for Cameron Flask. So I think that's good for the branding, and you know, I would also like to acknowledge the elephant in the room right here, which is the Shogun 7, which is a little bizarre. I didn't really have enough time because what I've been working on for the last few days is a video for ATOMOS about their finally released switching capabilities for the Sumo 19, which is out of frame over there, and the Shogun 7. And pretty exciting stuff in terms of what you can do. So that is, I would say, you know, definitely a part of what I do is I create educational content for companies within our industry. I think some of you know that. Action Collectibles, I would do a series on that, but you know, XF705 and C200 are apples and oranges. I mean, sensor size alone. Yes, I'm diversifying into burglary, and that's what oh my God. No, I'm diversifying into a freezing cold space right now. Ben Barden, my partner in crime today for Cameron Flask. And look, the hat, how cold is it? No, it's not that cold. I just had it on before, and there you go. I needed a reveal. All right, so this is in here for creating this content. And one of the things that's been sort of exciting here, look, the chat just woke up with Ben arriving, and Shiznuts, by the way, are these little guys here, the Connect Convert scales. If any of you have been around for a while, even not that long, you might remember these original connects from Atomos. I have a HDSDI to HDMI and an HDMI to HDSDI. But this connect convert scale is awesome. You can power it off of mains. You can power it off of USB, so you can just use a little power brick. Dip switches here, and you can switch it between all different things. It'll switch and convert frame rates, resolutions. It's a 1080 device, but it's awesome. And it's been part of what I've been working on, because when you're pushing to the Shogun 7 and to the Sumo 19, the final input has to terminate in SDI for it to work. So if you want to use older cameras like C100s and you want to get a feed from a laptop computer, that's the challenging one, then you need to use something. They also have these little boxes right here, which are working fine just for the C100s. They're just straight converts. So they basically take your HDMI to SDI, and it's a beautiful thing. So that video, I would say, is 95% shot. I've got a few more things to work out. I'm doing some more tests after the live stream, and then that will publish in January as well. All right, let's see what we've got here. How cold is your studio? It's actually pretty cold right now, but it's not too bad. I have one of those big propane heaters that I turn on. It's very loud, and it kind of warms up the overall space. And then I have a little space heater here. You got to do what you got to do to get the job done. C200 is a great camera. Let's see. I saw the press release for the XF705. Looks so impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's a great camera, but it's a 1-inch fixed lens camera system, and it's not going to be a fast camera. So I think the advantage is obviously longer reach because of the smaller sensor in terms of overall range of focal length. Downside, though it is good in low light, it's not like a APS-C or full frame sensor. And also it is, well, it's a fixed lens. So if you want to put a fast prime on there, if you want a 1.4 or 2 or anything like that, it's just a no-go. I'm too young to know that kind of thing. Jen is wireless, Yeah, well, wireless is part of this. I mean, I think with all of this stuff too, you can go wireless. It's just how reliable is it? And if you are going to do that, then blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Thought, by the way, my XLR input on my C200 got broken yesterday because my XLR cable was not coming out. I finally got it out this morning. Unfortunately, the type of cable that I had didn't allow me to perform a trick that you can do, which I looked up, which is that you unscrew the XLR cable, you pull out all of the stuff, and then you take pliers and you turn it to the left while you're pressing in the release or depressing it, and then you pull it out. But mine was covered all the way. It didn't allow me to do that. So I'm never buying an XLR cable that doesn't let you unscrew it ever again. Morning, David. So here we are. We've got real numbers here. This is exciting. Tip of the hat to you. Thank you, Shiznuts. Where's the Grumpy Penguin? I don't think the Grumpy Penguin ever comes to Gearbox. It's only a Cameron Flash thing. And by the way, how many people are coming to Cameron Flash later on? We're going to have a lively chat. I think because Christmas falls next Wednesday, we said this before on Cameron Flask, and then New Year's the following Wednesday. This is going to be the last episode for the year for both Gearbox and for Cameron Flask. And then I'm going to do what we all do in these last couple of weeks, really kind of regroup for the new year. And opinion, normally a bunch of new Cine cameras drop in January conferences, but this year so many are just now shipping, as in they actually come to market. Can there actually be new ones at this point? Paraphrasing. Well, Trevor, my personal opinion is that we could possibly see a mirrorless camera drop before NAB. But at this point, I think everybody has shown their cards in terms of digital cinema cameras. The exception to that might be RØDE. They don't do NAB anymore anyway. So maybe we'll see something from them between January 1 and NAB. maybe a mirrorless camera, the Unicorn A7S III, but I would say digital cinema cameras with the C500 Mark II dropping, with the FX9 dropping, and also a company like Blackmagic's approach to how they release, which is really going to be a big NAB press conference, that we're probably not going to see something in that realm until then, unless it's someone like Zcam, but their cameras are just starting to ship. So it's really kind of they're coming out here. GH6 teaser. Good question. I don't know. You know, it'll be interesting to see where Panasonic goes with Micro Four Thirds going forward. If you remember, which many of you do, the GH4 was on the market for a heck of a long time before they refreshed that. And I have a feeling that the GH5 and the GH5S kind of fit what they need to fit into right now, especially with the S1 line being where it is. And so I'd be really surprised if Panasonic came out with or teased that. Fujifilm, possibly. I could see them doing something in 2020 that's interesting. There you go. Alex says, good morning. Wondering what's your opinion on the EOS R that is going for $1,300 right now? Is it a good B cam for the C100? Well, Alex, I can tell you this. The EOS R is a great B camera for a C300 Mark II, which means that it's going to be a good or great B camera for the C100. I think they're a great match. I think that Canon continues to be light on the white paper specs, but in real world usability, their cameras are pretty rock star overall. So I would say, yes, I think it's a good investment if you're going to want to put that thing on a gimbal, on a slider. You're going to want it to, though a C100 is not a big camera. You can put that sucker on a slider very easily. So it just depends on what your usage is. I always say matching cameras if you can, because even here with the C200 and two C100 Mark Is, it's always dumbing down and trying to get the better of the cameras to match the lesser of the cameras. That is what winds up happening. And that's not why you bought a better camera, right? So there you go. There's Ben coming in. I knew he was going to come in with that. What else we got? I'll try and make it. Yeah, you should. Come on, that's 5 p.m. my time. What? Oh, I know about the kids thing. I hear you, Travis. Got a 2-day course coming up. What's that all about, Shiznuts? Clay, joining in late, but glad I could make it. Glad you could make it as well. Live stream's going to get big upgrades in the future. I mean, I'm still trying to work out the connectivity issues here. It is a crapshoot. You know, it's like I've got rock solid connection, but it's only over Wi-Fi. And then I get a notice on YouTube that everything sucks. Then I disconnect. I do a speed test and it's fine. And I resend that to YouTube and it's all okay. Nothing has changed. So what I need up here without having like another hand or arm grow out of my head is 5G. So hopefully that stuff is safe. Looks like it's coming to this area. So T-Mobile is definitely here. I'm AT&T. I'm waiting what I'm really waiting for is I'm waiting for a 5G mobile hotspot that I can just have as a dedicated hotspot for the C47. I think that'll make a big change. And then I can do a lot more exciting stuff. So the idea is to bring in, you know, some cool stuff and get multi-camera going and all those things. Live view is great as long as you have a good enough connection. Crew resource management course. How to get along better, I suppose. Well, what are you telling me, Shiznuts? You got some problems on set? There we go. Look at all these people. Michael has joined. What's up, Michael? Good to see you. It's the wind down for the year. We're all busy, but you know, all that stuff. Yeah, I would, you like live view for remote streaming Wi-Fi is spotty. Is that because, oh, I know why, Michael, because what you can do, and I was talking to my, my friend Guy Cochran, who runs DVE Store, you can basically, you can double or triple up. So if you have Ethernet, which I don't really, except for through my Wi-Fi hotspot, through my Nighthawk, but if you have multiple Wi-Fi connections, you can basically gang them together so that you can get a more reliable, higher, reliability connection. Did that even make sense? There you go. Yeah, LiveView uses cellular bonding. So what do you think about websites like Fiverr or similar freelance services websites? Well, Master Stroke Media, I have actually no opinion about it because I live under a rock and I have never used it and I don't know what it's all about. And now I need to. What's up, Gerald? So I hope to see you at NAB as well, Ben Barden. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what we got. I'm only getting a 720 stream on my end. Yes, Trevor, you are only getting a 720p stream on your end because I am using Lightstream. And Lightstream only at the moment has a 720 option. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing with my connectivity issues and everything else, but again, that will get resolved. And the long-term goal is not to use Lightstream, though I like the UI and how simple it is and the way it works. The reason I'm using Lightstream is because when we do Camera and Flask, we have multiple people coming in, and if I use Mimo Live, which would be my preferred platform, it's relying upon my internet connection, right? So yes, the people who are coming in, Ben, Caleb, and everybody else, need to have a good connection as well. But I need to have a good connection because essentially then I'm broadcasting everything. And that's not true with Lightstream. It's web-based, it's browser-based. Everybody basically gets an invite and it's all happening over Chrome, and all that stuff. Potato Jet did a Fiverr as a sponsor. Okay, then I'm going to check that out. Love his content. Michael says, use Fiverr, not happy. Many scams. Oy. And then what else we got? Tom did a vid on the A10 Mini. Looked nice. I have one. I can't wait to use it. And in fact, after I'm done setting up some stuff in here today with some final tests, I'm going to actually break that sucker out and maybe even have it set up for Camera and Flask. Though I don't know why I'm going to be using it. I'll just be using it to show you. Gerald Undone did something recently with the A10 Mini 2, which I thought was cool. Did a nice live stream with that. Trevor used Fiverr for a logo redesign. Quality was worth it at $100 to $200, so not bad, but not tops. So somewhere in the middle. I see. Dang. All right, let's see what we got. I'm off work now till January 2nd. David, you bastard. Oh, well, you got to work on the script. So you're not really off work. You're off of work, but you're not off of work. So welcome to our world of always having to do stuff. Oh, crazy. What else we got? Do I know Gerald Undone? I do not. I've met him. Seems like a nice guy. Caleb knows him well. And stand-up human being, as most creators are. There's a few out there that are a bit dodgy, but I would say the ones that are cranking out content on a regular basis that are educating people, talking about craft, tech, and sharing information in their nature is probably a good person. Because why the hell are they doing it otherwise? Come on. Because they want to. Michael just got the new Rode NTG5. I know you like it. I think you still prefer the MKH 416 a tad. Some of this is subjective, but I read that that's true. Is that true, Michael? I read stuff out there. Zlatko, what's happening? There it is. See? Come on. I gave you the info, but it's $500. And I think it's an upgrade from the NTG3. I know that Ben is looking at it seriously. My next purchase is probably, as I said on last week's episode, is probably going to be a mixed pre 3.2. But I might hold out to to camera and flask. I just read camera and flask on there. Tell NAB to see if there's something in the smaller form factor. We should have a bi-weekly special guest. Yeah, I agree, Shiznuts. We would like to have more people on the show. I think once we get some of these technical things ironed out, if ever, then we want to have people on there. We have had Eric Naso, we've had Slavic from Digital Filmmaker, and we would like to have more voices come into the show. We have a 4 spot there. It doesn't have to be the Cameron Flask logo, so a 4 up would work just fine. So there you go. What do we got? Well, Sankin mics are rock stars too. Anyone ever write something about Aperture and write Aputure instead? Are you talking about the lighting company and having a brain fart about that? Probably. There you go. So what else we got? Let's keep chatting. Okay, so I'll just keep talking here and then do an at the C47. Wait, David said at the C46, cheeky bastard. Now that I'm noticing that, what is that all about? That's my alter ego, my doppelganger. Going back and forth on the new Lava or Boom, however my needs are for my stand-ups, not moving. So Boom made sense. Yeah, it's hard for me here in the studio because if I was doing this all of the time and just this, then that mic right there would be fine. But yesterday, I was doing a lot of turning, and especially in this direction. So I favored this, and the mic was over here, so I could be I didn't want to be off axis, but you know, there's a larger pickup for a boomed mic, which is called the lobe, L-O-B-E, and it's bigger, and you basically have to put yourself in the lobe, and then you're not going to get as many changes in terms of audio levels in post. But I tend to lean on the lavalier for a lot of the stuff that I do because I'm moving around so much. I have an ECM88 from Sony, which is right here. And what's interesting about this microphone is it's just a regular lavalier, but the pickup is not in the front of the mic. It's 2 on the sides. And so what that does is it actually cancels out cable noise. It's ridiculous. It's so cool. So when you're going like this, you don't hear the cable noise. The problem is that for all of the hiding your mic solutions, because the pickups are on the side, they don't work. So I'm actually talking to the guy from Hide a Mic, who Sony is also talking to, about creating a version of his product that can work with the ECM88, which is now the ECM90. So, come on, David. You know that was on purpose. The C46. Give me a break. Next time it'll be the C48. I have that one crowdsourcing law style wireless mic thingy. What, the Smart Mic Plus from Sabanetech? Whoa. I don't know what that's all about. Michael's been working with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, 4K in film mode. I'm now not looking for a throw a lot on and will be instead grade, but have there been any LUTs you prefer? You know, I haven't used a lot of LUTs with the Blackmagic stuff. There's, it depends what you're editing in. What's it called? Oh, I'm having such a brain fart now. There are some really nice film emulation LUTs that I would look into. Film Convert's the first place that I would go. And I think if you're not starting with the LUT that's coming from the manufacturer, which sometimes is I would say Film Convert would be the place to start and looking into that. I believe they have a free trial, and I'd go in there and start pulling down and trying some of those Kodak film emulations, which can be really, really good. Yeah, that cancel the cable noise thing is magic. There's one video that Andy Munitz from Sony did on the ECM88 where he demonstrates that canceling of the cable noise. But again, if you can't put it into, I mean, obviously if you're just using a regular clip, it's not a problem. But if you can't hide that mic, then, you know, that's what we want to do a lot of the times. So there we go. Tyler has been very happy with buttery LUTs, natural LUT. It's LUTerific. nitrate. And then it looks like buttery LUTs, natural LUT gives you natural colors and not looky. So you can grade beyond that. Yeah, it's also depends what you're in. Like for instance, if you're, and I'm assuming you are, Michael, inside of DaVinci Resolve, one of the things that a lot of people don't do is kind of a correct order of operations where you can have an adjustment node before your LUT. Because, you know, LUTs are kind of dumb. They're a mathematical formula that are going to affect essentially luminance levels, exposure levels, and then also your essentially saturation of your color and push them in certain directions and stuff. But it's sort of, you know, garbage in, garbage out, or good in, good out. So if you overexpose or underexpose, it's not taking that into consideration. It's saying, hey, you properly exposed and we're going to apply this LUT, and boom, now you're probably going to be where you need to be. But putting an adjustment node or layer, if you're in something else, before and after the application of your LUT can be very helpful. Now, there are solutions out there that have that built in. They essentially have that adjustment built into the settings, so you can make lift, gamma, gain changes to the LUT itself, and it's basically the correct order of operations coming before essentially the LUT gets applied. But they're not telling you that that's what's happening, but essentially that's built into the plugin overall. That's what I got for you there. Yeah, you know, LUTs are fun, as Shiznut says. So we could have a LUT party. I don't know what that would look like, but maybe it's a thing. Thanks for making me take off my hat, Ben. I'm freezing now. I'm not really freezing. So, Gary, I would agree that LUTs are for viewing and temp correction for dailies and drafts, but I would say that that's true for certain industries and applications. I'm going to ignore this phone call. I don't know who you are. Probably local. But I would not argue, but I would say from a reality standpoint that for a lot of people who are in certain industries or certain workflows, that LUTs become something they rely upon. So they'll go into a workflow with a camera system that you're using day in and day out. They'll want to get that additional dynamic range from log. Sometimes they'll just dumb it down in terms of gamut, and they'll go with a 709 gamut and color space, but they'll want to go ahead and bring that footage in and get it to essentially what they were looking at when they were shooting, and they've got to do it fast. So they want to have some flexibility in terms of where things go, but they will rely upon LUTs for things like corporate and in-house production. And so I wouldn't discount them as something that for, maybe not for episodic television, feature films, long form, short form, documentaries. But I would say that for day in and day out content creation, if you're going the log or raw route for things, that LUTs can be a little bit more than just a, let's go ahead and see where things are. Shiznut's had to do it. There you go. What do we got? You need my credit card data? All right, I'll send you my social security number too. So Trevor starts with a blank slate, do color correction, then slowly start folding in a look using LUTs. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got their thing. So, you know, it's all a thing. Everybody's got their own workflows, but I would not fault somebody who finds a LUT workflow, but then sort of takes it a little bit further in terms of what they're doing with their stuff. So there you go. What do we got? I made LUTs for my C200 for monitoring and also use these as a starting point for my grading for consistency. LUTs definitely have a place, but not a fan of the cine LUTs out there. Interesting. Good. Yeah, sometimes this could be a pretty big S-curve. Shiznuts, your comment's getting flagged for review, which is ridiculous because it says at least grades aren't as bad as when people went nuts with Red Studio Magic Bullet looks. Oh, the word bullet. I'm going to say show because there's no problem with that. It wasn't Red Giant. Big news. What the heck? Maxon and Red Giant merging. That's a big deal. Thank you. I think that's kind of a big deal. That could be pretty interesting because we're now talking about Cinema 4D, which is a heck of a 3D program out there, and a company that's making some of the best plugins on the market. How those things merge together could be pretty interesting. The puns are just coming in strong here. Here we go. What? What? Is that you not knowing that Maxon and Red Giant are coming together? Did I actually know something that you guys don't? What's going on here? By the way, we are just hours away. 5 hours and 19 minutes to be exact from the official. Last week was the unofficial last episode of 2019 because it had the three amigos, myself, Ben Barden, and Caleb Pike. But today, Ben and I will be chatting. He'll be making fun of me and how cold I am here in the barn. He'll be saying, hey, why are you a burglar, as he says, the Hamburglar. Explains the $500 a year subscription. I don't even know about that. Yeah. Magic Bullet was the foundation of that. I'm going to say Earl is deal. There we go. Feeling good. Look, propane tank done. We were shooting here a lot yesterday for this Shogun 7 Sumo 19 firmware updates. It was working. It was good. We were live switching all of the different sources, inputs, and all that stuff. And we were using these, Connect boxes that I hadn't used before. I had only used the old ones. And the dip switches, I'm a big fan of. It was all good stuff. And I've got some more testing to do as soon as we wrap up the show. And, I'm about to hit I'm about to hit 6,000 subscribers, and I just got a pop-up here that Marquise Brownlee just hit 10 million subscribers. So just to bring things down to reality, that's where we are at with the C47 in terms of reach. Please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. One of these days, this thing will grow into something a little bit bigger. Big plans for 2020, and this studio space is going to be part of that. I cannot wait to do multicam live education on the channel, which is going to be so fun. And I need that company, by the way, that this is like a distraction only because it's like, what's it doing here? Right here. Will this work? I'm using the Infinity arm, by the way, by Matthew Studio Equipment. That thing is a rock star. I'm sure the AF is going crazy right now, by the way. Let me just say that ATEM Mini, there's a piece of software you can use on iOS devices that lets you control ATEM devices. And they have not made that available for the ATEM Mini. I want that because that would actually be amazing, where I can walk around the studio with all my cameras set, and then I can just use that to switch to the different sources. What do we got? Oh, I'm just shy of 6K subs as well, and saw the same MKB HD post and had the same reaction. Oh, it's depressing. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. We'll get there. We'll get there, kids. Biggest mistake of my life. I made a decision in 2009. I'm going to create content 5 days a week, every day, Monday through Friday. Well, really, I shot Sunday for Monday and Thursday for Friday, and you can figure out the rest. And I did that pretty consistently for 3 years and pushed all of the content to my website, thec47.com. And originally, I was hosting on Blip.tv. Then I went to Vimeo. We're not going to have that discussion. But I, unlike a lot of other smart people, and by the way, I had a YouTube channel in 2009, didn't push my content to YouTube because I thought, you know, I want people to come to my website. That's where I'm going to do it. That's the branding strategy. Dumbest mistake of my life, because nobody was doing daily content 5 days a week on this stuff at that time. So, you know, here I am, 5,989 subscribers or whatever the heck it is. But we'll get that. What do we got here? Now it's like everybody woke up. So let me catch up here. I need an infomercial for the C47. It's ridiculous. Let's see what we got. 100 million club plus, or okay. I'm just shy of 6,000. Your channel, thank you. Boom. Random question: what cameras shoot ProRes internal? I just watched that 16K Apple Afterburner video. ProRes internal. So we get the ARRI cameras on the high end are ProRes internal. FS7 Mark 1 and 2 with the extension unit, you can do ProRes internally, I think only up to 1080. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong about that, but you can definitely do ProRes internal to the XQD cards. Blackmagic cameras, of course, are ProRes internal. Maybe the Zcam, but I'm not sure. Somebody's going to have to tell me. I don't know if they license that. Off the top of my head, those are the big ones that will do ProRes internally. I may be wrong about other ones that are out there. All right, what else we got? There we go. Blackmagic, Alexa, red, certain models. Yes, so maybe that's the only one I missed. EJA, Scion. Come on, Gary. That's ridiculous. Your goal is to pass my sub count. Well, let's go. 2020, game on. But I'm going to keep moving. So a good challenge. I'm not really competitive. I'm not that type of person. So what else we got? Oh, yeah, we got the Nikon RAW over HDMI actually in the wild. Looks like for your money, the Z6 or Z6 is the way to go for that. And basically, you have to go to a service center. They'll do an upgrade for your HDMI out. And then everything else is just basically this right here, the Ninja 5. Sorry, I blocked the mic. The Ninja 5. The Ninja 5. So you got to have that and install the latest firmware. And Scion and $5 will get you a cup of coffee, Michael says. ATOMOS over HDMI, no bueno. You get that kangaroo in the corner. What the heck does that mean, Wildwood? Digital media, tell me. Yeah, that HAA side. Stop it with the HAA. Well, what about the original Ursa Mini Pro? No, the Ursa. The Ursa camera. Unbelievable. It's crazy. Just saw someone upload Zcam footage with the Leica 10 to 25. Ooh, nice. The 1.7. And look what BM did. What did BM do? Oh, you mean in terms of the Scion versus HDMI Skippy errors? Really? Well, let's see. News Shooter has a little article on sort of their first thoughts on that particular update for RAW over HDMI, and they're impressed. So we'll have to see where things go. Yeah, that was a wasted opportunity for Blackmagic to call it the Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. You were quite right about that. But that's a little, I don't know. They're going with the Asian theme with their naming conventions. And oh, no, what am I talking about? I just had a brain for it. I just lost my mind. Forget that, scratch that, rewind, and start play again. Okay, good. So interested, Wildwood Digital Media, to find out if these HDMI Skippy errors are actually something that we need to worry about. It's just never ends with you people. Look, we're now 5 hours and 10 minutes away from Camera and Flask. And if everybody's as lively as they are here, then great. Michael's got a jet. Have a great holiday season as well, Michael. all the best. And yeah, it's all good. So what else we got for the last 9 to 10 minutes of this thing? Because I got a lot of stuff to set up inside of this thing today. And I had 20 people coming over for Christmas. Skippy the Bush. What is going on here? It never ends. Okay. One thing I have to decide is what I'm drinking today for Cameron Flask. That's important. If you didn't come earlier on, I'm in the downstairs part of the barn, and I have an actual plan now in terms of how this is going to get turned into a studio. We're going to get rid of the vertical support beams. We are going to put a huge header in here. We're going to insulate this thing. It's going to be an unfinished space. David, I'm thirsty as well. And then I am going to build flats that are on wheels, and we're going to build sets, and we're going to do multicam. And I hope 5G gets here. Come on soon so I can get some content going for you suckers. You are suckers. We used to say sucker butt in the 80s. So a bunch of sucker butts. I marked that this is not for kids. So I'm not saying it's going too much further than that, but you know. Shiznuts is going to go mezcal or tequila. What's on my Christmas list, Travis? You know, this is a problem. By the way, Gary, I'd be interested in what camera you're shooting YDR in. So tell me that, and I want to have a conversation. Pardon me, depending on your answer. There's not a lot on my Christmas list. I would love another C200. Just so I have 2 matching cameras for the content that I'm creating. That's not going to happen. Right now, MixPre 3.2, so I can have 32-bit float audio. I don't have to worry about it in small crew production. But that does put me into double system sound. So I'm hoping somebody comes up with something clever that I can use that's smaller and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that is. I'm not wanting really for much. I've got some new books in. I just bought a book on tabletop photography, which I'm not going to apply to photography, but I'm going to apply to continuous light video. Try to just re-educate myself. I just, MZ Pro membership, great, but also Masterclass, they're doing a special where you get a year and you can gift a year. So now they're up to 70 plus courses. A lot of them are filmmaking. I love to watch them, not just for the content, but just production value. And it, you know, I'm in the space of educational content, so it's good. So Gary, C300 and C200 both. So Gary, the thing, I get it. That makes sense. If you're going to deliver that content to your client and they're asking for the actual footage, there are advantages to shooting in log and then basically dumbing down your gamut to 709, which is that when you bring that footage into post, you're not really doing anything in terms of your color space. You're just basically adjusting your exposure levels. And, you know, it took me a long time to figure out how the C100 Mark I and Mark II worked, and the original C300. Those cameras all had Canon log, which was Canon log 1, I guess. But they didn't have any wider gamuts than 709. So you were essentially always just getting better dynamic range for your luminance values, but you're always in 709. So I was always afraid to shoot in log, and I would always shoot in YDR so I could get a couple extra stops and, you know, save some highlight information. But really, for the duration, I should have just been shooting in log, because when you bring that footage in, you're going to make generally exposure adjustments to your footage anyway. We just can't help ourselves. So if you're shooting with, you know, original kind of Canon log and cinema, you know, Rec 709 space, then you might want to, like Cinema EOS for your gamut, you might want to shoot in log. Gives you a little more dynamic range. What we got here? Oh, yeah, I am going to invite people for live teaching. I'll do all kinds of stuff in this space when it's all set up. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen here. Trevor's going to get an S1H to replace photo camera. What else we got? I think that's it. My Christmas wish list. Aputure releases the freaking Nova already, so they can take my money. Tell me about it, Tyler. Let's go. Though I am very impressed with the Nanlite Mix 150, which is what I'm using over here. That is a heck of a light, I have to say. I think the downside for Nanlite right now is they don't have that mesh network, that app controllability. But the Forza and the Mix lights are pretty dang impressive overall. An ARRI would be amazing. Yeah, that's actually, if you want to know what's on my wish list, it's an orbiter light. If somebody wants to send me one of those, I'm down for that. I asked Santa for an Alexa Mini. Don't think I've been nice enough yet. You know what? I can't wait till the original Alexa Mini comes down to an affordable price, because one day I'm going to buy one of those cameras and I'm going to be very happy with it, and everybody's going to be on the full frame bandwagon, which I love. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm just going to be very happy with an amazing Super 35 millimeter UHD 4K camera that doesn't have a sensor that's actually UHD 4K, but is so amazing that it doesn't freaking matter. Have you seen Avengers? Did it matter that it's not actually 4K? Come on. I saw it in the theater with a 4K projector. Didn't bother me. It's that sensor. Ben's looking at getting his first mannequin to practice lighting. Lots of quote unquotes there. And she looks a little surprised. You know, I went up to DVE store and they have pictures on my phone. They have 2 mannequins there that they use. One of them apparently is in tons of their videos. So, thanks, Ben. So I could see how this is going to go today. I know that's very much your area, so wondered if you had any recommendations. So some good Amira deals. Yeah, you know, Amira is great too. Same sensor, beautiful UHD 4K, obviously XLR inputs, really the documentary filmmaker's camera. Matt Allard, that's his workhorse camera. But that's a heavy camera. So there you go. There's a strong chance that Tyler will add a 1DX Mark III next year. Wait, oh, there you go. The C200. Knives Out, 2K Master, projected at 4K, looked great, and I'm assuming shot on an Alexa camera. Still need to see that movie. I'm going to try to catch it over the next few days. 9:58 a.m. Propane has run out. It's getting cold. This is the wrap, kids. I can say kids because most of you are younger than me. I earned this gray. But I still feel like I'm. Actually, my daughter told me yesterday that I'm perpetually 15. I would not tend to disagree with her on that, though she's perpetually 3 years old. Potato Jet bought the original, the Alexa for 6K. That was a great episode. It's like you need a Sherpa for the original Alexa camera. Krampus might, come on, what is going on, Krampus? I'm not even going to read these. I have to read them first and internalize and decide which one I'm going to read. Okay, there we go. Knives Out bored you. Wait, really? Oh, come on, David. Again with the puns. Ridiculous. Yeah. Guys, I have you all beat. Put your ages up. There's a few of you who may be above, but most of you not so much. That's not necessarily a good thing. I'm just telling you what it is. 9:59 a.m. It has been a pleasure, everybody. Oh, and look at that. It's actually really 10 o'clock. What? Yes, that's it. It's a reminder. My first reminder for the day. Done for the season? What does that mean, Rob? Oh, you just showed up? Come on. What are you doing? Well, you know, it was a little bit of a question mark in terms of being done or not, but I had to do this episode, and I really appreciate everybody. Ben is 23 years old. No wonder he's looking for a mannequin. And he's a lonely 23-year-old if he's looking for a mannequin. So what You guys are out of control. I'm wrapping it up. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here on the show. Let's grow this thing next year. Let's get some more subscribers. Let's make sure, Rob, you win today, but not by that much. You're a punk. So really, I really appreciate everybody coming here. And again, we are going to do one more episode of Camera and Flask at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Myself, Ben Barden, if I can get a word in edgewise. Don't be too cheeky, Ben. We'll see you guys in about 5 hours here on this channel. Tap the bell, whatever you subscribe, you do all that stuff that people are supposed to do. And again, thank you for being part of the C47. New show coming in January, deciding how I'm going to do all of this stuff. I'd love to do a live stream like this. Camera and Flask, of course, is moving forward. And then we'll see how this is all going to play out. But I'm excited about all of it. And see you guys on the other side. Let me push a logo. And thank you very much.